Greetings, I'm the Bulgarian Troglodyte. Today I'm gonna do this movie challenge that was started by Neil's movie channel. So it's about celebrating sound, color, and spectacle in films. So three different categories, and we've been asked to pick 5 to 10 films for each category. So I've picked 10 films for all three categories, so 30 films in total. And you can check Neil's video for extra info about the challenge. He started the challenge as there is a film festival in Vancouver that is doing like a program for sound, color, and spectacle. And in that video, Neil shared what films they are gonna screen in that festival. And also one of the rules for this challenge was that we shouldn't pick any of the same films that are in the festival. So yeah, I've picked different films. Yeah. And the idea here is kind of that if we were like curators in a cinema, what would be pick for sound, color, and spectacle. But anyway, I think that's enough for an intro. But as always, my picks are quite weird for some parts, but also there are some more obvious choices here as well. And I think for me, the spectacle category was the hardest one as I'm not always for a huge spectacle. I often like calm films where not much happens. So I was kind of very creative with the spectacle category. Yeah. But anyway, we are gonna start with sound. So I'm not gonna talk about these films that much, but first we have Kim Ki-duk's Three Iron, which I've done for my podcast as well. And this is actually interesting for sound, as the two main characters don't talk, but there is lots of interesting sound here. There's this reoccurring song that we hear like few times in the film. That's absolutely beautiful. And also there are other characters that talk, and the silence here is also very interesting. But I think how it uses sound, how it uses silence, it's very unique and interesting. So I thought that I would pick this kind of a wild card, you could say. But yeah, I absolutely love this film. It's one of my top 30 favorites. So if you haven't seen it, definitely go watch it. But then the next one is very obvious as it has one of the most famous soundtracks. So it's The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. But I mostly picked it for the soundtrack or the score by Ennio Morricone, which is one of my all-time favorites. And of course, the whole movie is just perfect entertainment and aesthetically it's amazing. But yeah, the score is one of the highlights of it. Yeah. Then we have Frank Borsake's I've Always Loved You, which is all about classical music. We see lots of these huge moments where characters are playing piano, and we see a couple of concert scenes as well. So this film is all about music, but also about love and relationships. But the music is the reason I picked it here for the sound. But this would have fit the spectacle category as well, as it is a huge spectacle, big emotional spectacle, big musical spectacle. But you can find this film on 1080p on YouTube if you haven't seen it. I think it's one of the best films of the 40s, and sadly, it's very unknown and underrated. Yeah, if you like the Red Shoes, I think you would like this one too. Yeah, then we actually have a concert film. So we have Kylie Minogue, Live in London from 2011, and this would have fit the spectacle and the color categories as well. Like, look at this shot, it's absolutely gorgeous. But I love Kylie Minogue. She's one of my favorite pop divas, one of my favorite artists. I love her music. Yeah, she's the queen, and we have another queen very soon in this category. But yeah, there are lots of the classic songs here, but also songs from the Aphrodite era. And yeah, this is just incredible. And here you can see some of the tracks that it has. But it's an incredible concert film, both terms of the music, the aesthetic, and the dancing, the beautiful dancers, the great choreography, and everything. Absolutely love this one. And then we have Lady and the Tramp, and I'm actually talking about the Finnish dub for this film. As for some reason, I've always preferred the Finnish dub, even though I've watched the film with the original English a few times as well. And I usually don't like Finnish dubs that much, but this is one exception. Yeah. But I think the sounds of this movie have always been with me as I've watched this film so many times as a kid, but also as an adult. I love the songs in it, but I also love the voice acting a lot. And it's such a classic. I absolutely love this one. Although I've now kind of gotten a bit tired of it as I've just seen it too many times. I watched this last Christmas and I was kind of like, yeah, I've seen this too many times when the last time I watched this, but yeah, I still have such a soft spot for this film. It has again great songs and great voice acting. Then we have Sion Sono's Love and Peace, and this one I also did for my podcast. But it's about this loser guy who has an office job. He wants to become a singer, and then he becomes a singer and a big star. So it has lots of songs and big musical moments and lots of spectacle as well. So this would have fit the spectacle category as well. But it's not just about the music here. Also the acting is so over the top. So some of the characters are screaming and talking in a weird way. So you can add that part to the celebration of sound as well. But for the most part, I picked it for the great songs. Yeah. But this is an underrated film. You should watch it if you can. Then we have another pop diva, the Queen, Madonna. So this is the Confessions, or from 2016, directed by Jonas Åkerlund. This is also filmed in London, and it has so many great songs in it, although it doesn't have all the big classics like I think this didn't have, like a prayer, for example, and it lacks many of the big classics, and it has many of the new songs of this era. But it's such a spectacle. The music is great, the performance is great, the dancing is great, everything is great. So if you love Madonna, this is a must see. And yeah, I'm such a huge fan of Madonna. Yeah, both her music, but also what she has done as a person. So yeah, great stuff. Then we have The Shining, which obviously has a very weird score to it, lots of creepy sounds. So that's why I picked it. This is a very obvious pick, obviously, but I thought I would pick some really obvious ones as well. Yeah, not much to say about it. You know why it is here. So then, of course, you could pick almost any David Lynch film for the sound category, as his sound design is amazing and also the soundtracks are amazing. But this film has one of my favorite soundtracks, especially the Julie Cruise songs are some of my favorite songs of all time. But I think the sound design also, beyond the soundtrack, is great and very creepy. And I think this would have fit the spectacle category as well, and even the color category, as this has like very bright and beautiful colors. Yeah. But I was thinking about Eraserhead as well, because that's like a great example of his sound design, more than the soundtrack stuff. But I wanted to pick a film that has both a great soundtrack and great sound design. So yeah. Then last is a fairly obvious pick as well. It's Whiplash. Probably all of you have seen. Yeah, lots of um great jazz music in it, and then we have these very over the top performances like J.K. Simmons screaming his lungs out, and that's part of the sound as well as the crazy drumming and all the instrumentation. I love this movie. So that was the sound category. Now we will go into the color category. This was the easiest category to pick because I love colorful films. And one thing I hate about my own country, Finland, is that people always insist here that everything needs to be gray, everything needs to be white, all homes should be decorated like an ugly hospital. Yeah, I don't like it. I want color in my life. Although my apartment is very white as well, but it's mostly just with a student budget. I don't wanna put my limited amount of money into decorating, but in the future I want to have a home that's all pink and purple and very colorful. Yeah. But let's go through this films. So first we have a French 80s classic. It's Petit Blue. That's visually just absolutely amazing. And in this shot you can see there's a bit of pink and some blue there. And there are so many of these colors, like when we see the houses, like they are very colorful and the whole film is very colorful and beautifully shot. And yeah, this is just exactly like my type of aesthetic. In a way, it kind of reminds me of Paris, Texas, as it has that kind of methodical perfectionist visuals to it, and lots of color. Yeah, great movie. Then we have a Raul Ruiz film, City of Pirates, that I always shout out on my channel. You can watch this on YouTube. But like you can see in this shot here, it has these kind of hypnotic colors and weird color grading and yeah, this kind of very experimental look to it, very surreal look to it. So I think this is a really good pick for this category and it would be amazing to see this one on the cinema. Yeah, of course I talked about in one video that Radiance Films, that Blu-ray label, wanted to license this film, but then they couldn't get the license, which just made me so sad because I would absolutely love to have this on physical media in great quality. Yeah. But to me, this is just one of the best films of all time, and it's sad that not that many people have seen it. But although I think it is a type of film that many people wouldn't like, as it doesn't really have a much of a plot. It's more about these kind of surreal visuals and the vibe and things like that. Then we have The Cook, the Thief, His Wife and Her Lover by Peter Greenaway. And if you have seen this film, this is kind of an obvious pick. It has these crazy reds in like both in the clothing but also in the walls and in terms of how it's shot. Otherwise, it looks kind of like a Kubrick film with those wide shots and very methodical cinematography. But yeah, it's all about the color red here. But yeah, Greenaway films tend to be quite colorful in general, and they are very grotesque looking, but at the same time very beautiful. But yeah, this is such a fun film in a dark way. Michael Gambon is just insane in it, yeah, and Helen Mirren is so great. Yeah. Then we have, of course, Kamikaze Girls, which is very colorful. And I already talked about how I would want my home to look pink and purple, but here we have a character called Momoko, who I would want her to decorate my home because she has a great sense of style. But this film has so many colors like pink and yellow and even these weird greens and so many colors. It looks absolutely crazy, varied, very queer as well. I absolutely love this. It's also starring Anna Chukia, who is a great singer because she sang some of the songs of the anime Nana, like the song Rose that I absolutely love. It was the theme song of the anime Nana, so I absolutely love her. Yeah, and she is very colorful person as well as she's this crazy punk girl in this film. But yeah, such a colorful, such a beautiful film, such a fun film. Then I think I already mentioned Paris, Texas, so yeah, there we have a amazing pink jumper. I absolutely love. But of course, when this film starts, we have this kind of desert backgrounds that aren't that colorful. But then at the end, we have this neon light. shots that look absolutely stunning, but also the desert scenes looks stunning. So we have like a wide variety of different types of colors. So scenes that are very colorful, but then scenes that aren't as colorful as well. But yeah, one of the best shot films of all time. Absolutely incredible. Yeah. Then the next film is very colorful, like you can see from this shot. It's Pastoral to Die in the Country by Shuichi Terayama, a weird Japanese new wave film that doesn't have much of a plot. It's all about the vibe and the aesthetic, and the whole film is very colorful and okay, very weirdly colorful. It's not just colorful in a normal way, but again in this weird way that you see here. Yeah, you can watch this on YouTube as well, so go watch it. Then we have a very colorful film, Pink Narcissus by James Bidgood. His only film, and this is all about the queer aesthetic, like you can see in this shot. So it has lots of pink. The whole film is pretty much very colorful. It was made in a very low budget with pretty bad cameras and stuff, but it still looks absolutely stunning, quite surreal as well, very dreamy, very beautiful. Yeah. Then we have a similar film to Pink Narcissus. Pink Narcissus, it's Gerel by Rainer Werner Fassbinder. And this has this kind of weird artificial colors. We have this kind of yellowish, brownish kind of color grading in it, like really artificial but good looking colors. Yeah, I think this poster is pretty good example of the color. Yeah, lots of interesting contrast there as well. Yeah. Then we have very obvious choice, but it's the Emperors of Cherbourg. And I think Neil shared in his video again the list from the film festival, and they had the Young Girls of Rochefort by Jacques Demy also, but they didn't have this one, I think. And I actually rewatched Young Girls of Rochefort yesterday. I was kind of inspired to rewatch it as my good friend Tony has been obsessing about it as it is probably his favorite film of all time. And 2 days ago, me and Tony had like a 4 hour discussion where we talked about Jacques Demy. So yesterday I had to just watch it after that conversation, basically. So, and I actually love that film, but Cherbourg I love even more because Rochefort is all about joy, but this is the one that makes me cry, and I usually tend to make like the films more that make me cry than the ones that make me laugh. But yeah, Ah, yeah, this is just also kind of like many of the films here, full of queer aesthetic, lots of bright colors. There's pink and yellow and green and blue and so many different colors. Ah, yeah, this might even be my favorite film of all time. Definitely in the top three at least. So, but I always tend to watch it in February when it's very dark. So it manages to bring lots of color to my life when Finland is very dark in February. So, and this is very similarly colorful. It's wall engravings by Guy Gilles. It's a French New Wave film. Has lots of pink, lots of kind of Jacques Demy-esque colors, some Alain René type of weirdness in it. Absolutely stunning film. You can watch this in the Rare Film website. It's a very underrated new wave film. It's one of the best, but not many people talk about it. And I think you can gather from this 10 that I love the queer aesthetic. I love pink and I love purple and I love these crazy colors. Yeah, pink is probably my favorite color these days. So, although it obviously depends on the context. Like if I look at cars, for example, I necessarily wouldn't want to have a pink colored car, but I love pink in many other contexts. Yeah. But then we have the last category, and it's spectacle. So, like I said in the beginning, I think that, yeah, I kind of took some liberties with this category as I'm not as much of a spectacle type of person. I mean, I am sometimes, but oftentimes I like the stuff that is kind of like anti-spectacle. But yeah, let's go through this list. So first we have a Cinderella story by Mark Rossman. So this is like teen first love type of spectacle. We have the great Hilary Duff and we have the great Chad Michael Murray. I actually used to hate Chad Michael Murray, but then I realized that the hate was actually a crush and that I love him. Yeah, it's weird how that works. Yeah, but I actually watched this for the first time in June, and I watched it due to Chad Michael Murray, but I also like Hilary Duff a lot. But it's about these two young kids who start um, like emailing and they don't know each other, but they know that they are in the same school, but they don't know again who each other are, and they really fall in love through the emails. But Hilary Duff is this kind of nerdy girl, and Chad Michael Murray is this like very popular, handsome young guy, and so the Hilary Duff character is very scared that maybe he won't like me because I'm such a nerd and stuff, but yeah, then in the end they kiss and we hear Jimmy Eat World, Hear You Me song, May Angels Lead You In. Yeah, it's such a cheesy but beautiful moment in the rain. So it's like an emotional teen love story spectacle. Yeah, not necessarily what your average person would think when they hear the word spectacle, but I think this type of film is very spectacle like. Yeah. Well, then we have one of Arnold's best films. It's Commando, which I think is a very much of a spectacle, especially the end stuff where he kills so many people and it's all very over the top. So that's definitely a spectacle, but such a fun movie, endlessly rewatchable movie with some great one-liners, and Arnold is so puffed in it. It has a fun, stupid, cliche plot and great villain as well, Bennett. Then we have The Devils, and this film is just so over the top. It's funny, it's tragic, it's satirical. Yeah, it has some crazy visuals in it, many crazy scenes. So in that way, I think it's a spectacle and again one of my absolute favorite films of all time. And Oliver Reed's performance is a spectacle in itself. So yeah, great stuff. Well, this is kind of spectacle in that type of way that we think these days. So like these huge fights and battles in like Marvel movies and stuff. So this has like insane battles, and this would have beat the sound and color categories quite well as well. So it's Dragon Ball Super Broly. I think this is the best Dragon Ball movie, although the series is always the best. But yeah, there are like these huge fight scenes with again Vegeta fights Broly, Goku fights Broly, and they fuse into Gogeta and they fight Broly, and yeah, and Broly even attacks Frieza and Whis, and so there's lots of battles here. But this one also has lots of heart and emotion in it. But I picked it here due to the insane battles that yeah are animated so well. Then yeah, this was just a stupid pick, one of my childhood favorites. So it's Freddy versus Jason, and of course it's gonna be a huge spectacle when we have these beloved horror villains, Freddy and Jason, going against each other. So I think if you love both of the characters, you will love this film. Or maybe if you only love Freddy, you want him to beat Jason, or the other way around, that you love Jason and you hate Freddy and you want Jason to beat him. Yeah, I always rooted for Jason in this film, even though I haven't even seen the Friday the 13th films other than the first one, but I've seen all the Nightmare on Elm Street films, but for some reason I always rooted for Jason. But it's an epic battle. Evil will battle evil, like it says here. And look at this poster, it looks like a huge spectacle. Yeah, I really need to rewatch this. This was one of my favorite films of all time as a kid, so yeah. Well, this is a fairly dark spectacle, but it's the Human Condition trilogy, which has this very large story that goes through the human condition. And yeah, very epic story of one man's battle with his own ideals and war and his ultimate downfall. Yeah, so it's a huge spectacle, I think. Then the next one is like a visual spectacle. It's Letter Never Sent, where we have these huge fires, the Siberian forests, and a few people try to fight for their lives and their survival in that forest. So it has that kind of classic tale of survival, and visually it looks absolutely insane. And against the 60s, so not no CGI and stuff. So it has practical effects, and it kind of leaves you in awe, like how could they do something like this? Yeah, so great stuff. You can watch it on YouTube on great quality. So I think this is a fairly very obvious one. It's the Red Shoes by the Archers. The story is very much like a spectacle. It's an emotional spectacle. So many big decisions that these characters have to make, especially Wiki. And it's a visual spectacle. Ballet is an art form of spectacle, basically. So yeah, it's full of different types of spectacle. Yeah, beautiful film. Then I have the Samurai trilogy here. This is the first one, but I mean the whole trilogy. Yeah, it has this very grand story of Musashi Miyamoto, his story of fighting in battles, but also these one-on-one duels with other samurai. And then there is this love triangle that's pretty intense emotionally, and yeah, such a great story, and also visually it looks kind of very huge and big, especially for the time. So yeah, I think it's good choice for the spectacle. I obviously could have gone with Seven Samurai as well, but I wanted to go with the Samurai trilogy. Then last but not least, we have Why Don't You Play in Hell by Sion Sono. So this is just so over the top in every way. Like this shot here is obviously very over the top. Like the climax of the film is when they are shooting a film, it's very intense, over the top, and very much of a kind of violent, bloody spectacle. Yeah, such a fun movie. So this is kind of a spectacle in the Tarantino sense of the word, you could say. But anyway, those were my choices. So we had 10 films for spectacle, 10 films for color, and 10 films for sound. So let me know your choices in the comment section, and if you have a channel yourself, you could do a response to these and pick 5 to 10 films for each category, and remember to tag Neil's channel if you do a video. Neil has a great channel, so you should check it out, and you probably have already, as he's a big part of our community by doing very constant content, but also commenting a lot on many people's channels. So, but this was a really fun movie challenge, and I always love this concept of a movie channel, movie challenge. I mean, sorry, not channel, but challenge. And yeah, I sometimes think that I should do a movie challenge of my own, but maybe I will do that someday. But I hope that this will kind of become a more big of a part of a our community, like this idea of a challenge, because it's actually a big part of the booktube community where they have like constant tags going on and stuff. So we should do more of this stuff in the cinema tube. But anyway, thanks for watching. Don't drink Coke at all. Sayonara and arigato gozaimashita.